Hello everyone, and welcome to the second in this term's series of BCLT research seminars hosted by the British Centre for Literary Translation here at the University of East Anglia in Norwich, England. My name is Duncan Large and I'm the BCLT's Executive Director and Coordinator of this research seminar. Each year we are very privileged to welcome to BCLT a visiting fellow who is sponsored by the Charles Wallace India Trust to work on a translation project over a period of a couple of months. During their time with us, we invite our visiting fellows to give a presentation in this research seminar series. And if you delve back through the recordings on BCLT's YouTube channel, you'll find an archive of those presentations and other online activities involving Charles Wallace Fellows going back over several years. We heard last month from our 2024 fellow Divya Kalavala, and our speaker today, Mrinmoy Pramanick, is our current Charles Wallace Fellow in 2025. He joins us from the BCLT office at UEA. But when not in Norwich, Mrinmoy teaches in the Department of Comparative Indian Language and Literature at the University of Calcutta, and he serves as the founding coordinator of the Centre for Translation and Literary Geography there. He earned his MPhil in Translation Studies and PhD in Comparative Literature from the University of Hyderabad. His areas of interest are translation studies, language and community, migration, and Dalit literature. And I think we're going to see all of those areas of interest represented in his presentation today. He's published, edited, and translated 11 books and several articles in significant journals, including Economic and Political Weekly. He translated Sharan Kumar Limbale's Towards an Aesthetics of Dalit Literature and Ganesh Devi's Of Many Heroes into Bengali. Tilted Axis Press published his translation of Kalyani Thakur Charal's poems I Belong to Nowhere into English. He finished a major project on the Indian exodus from Southeast Asia and worked on a project on Bengali Dalit oral narratives. In 2023, he was awarded the prestigious Sahitya Akademi Award for translation by the government of India. Now, Mrinmoy has already led an in-person translation workshop with our MA students here on campus, and we're very much looking forward to hearing more today about the project on which Mrinmoy is focusing during his residency at the BCLT. Before I hand over, though, let me just say that after his talk, we'll have plenty of time for a question session. We're using the Zoom webinar platform, and that allows you to submit questions via the Q&A button. So that function is available all the way through. Do feel free to submit your questions, and I'll put them to Mrinmoy on your behalf at the end. The chat function is also available for your comments and reflections. The seminar is being recorded and we'll make it available on the BCLT YouTube channel shortly after this event. My thanks, as always, go to my BCLT colleagues, Anna Good and Sally Dix, for their technical support. For now, though, it's my great pleasure to hand over to Mrinmoy Pramanick for a talk which is entitled Totoparar Chotora, Translating the Voices of Children on the India-Bhutan Border. Mrinmoy, welcome.
Thank you so much, Professor Duncan Large, and thanks for giving me this opportunity. Charles Wallace India Trust and the British Centre for Literary Translation, University of East Anglia. So let me share the screen. For today's presentation, right. Yeah, I think the screen is visible.
That's
So,
perfect.
yeah, without taking more time, uh, I will be talking about my journey and the experience of translating Totopara Chotora and the process of translation, and also that the inter journey of making of this book, Totopara Chotora. Toto is a particularly vulnerable tribal group as identified by Government of India, and the Government of India identified 75 tribal communities as particularly vulnerable tribal groups based on the recommendation of the Dhivar Commission of 1960 and 61, and other studies conducted by different scholars and surveyors during fourth five-year plan of Government of India. And this community is very endangered community because they have currently only speakers of slightly more than 1650, and this data is prepared by Indian Statistical Institute in 2011, and it shows the growth of the number from 1901 to 2011. It shows 1600, and later it is increased to 1650 plus. And this is the population chart and the distribution of the male female members of the community among the 1600 as per the census report of Government of India of 2011. And this is the map of the village of Totopara. This community, this village belong to Alipurduar district of West Bengal, India, and it is very close to Bhutan border, and it exists in the uh, foot of the mountain Himalaya. And this is the entire map of the district, Alipurduar district, and it shares this district shares border with Assam, another state of West Bengal, and the district of Kochbiar, Jalpaiguri, and our neighboring country Bhutan. So this is the map, and there belongs the I mean Totopara village belongs in this district. This is the road what leads to the village. Actually, there is no road for 6 miles to reach to the village, and that is very significant. While we went to work about the literature of this community and their oral tradition, we found that there is no road for 6 miles to reach to the village, and when there is no straight road uh, for such a long way, it is very difficult for the community, because road is not only for the transportation, but it is also about the opportunities one can get. It is about the everyday needs, their need of medication, need of teaching, learning stops, everyday needs, and also road helps to develop the communication with the center and people's access to the knowledge. So when a community is completely isolated from the nearest town or the city, and it takes a lot of hurdles to reach to the nearest town, which is almost 23 miles away from this village, it becomes very difficult for them to deal with their everyday necessities and also their epistemic right. So this road actually signifies that how vulnerable a community can be, and what kind of challenges they face in their everyday life. These are the different parts of this 6 miles road what we crossed with a hired car to reach to the village. And this is the Torsha river. Though direct photograph of the river is not there, but you can see that in far that a river is flowing. And Torsha river has a very important cultural and social significance to the community, because multiple stories, their imagination, their dreams are associated with this river. And these are the parts of the mountain, and they worship a part of the hill of Himalayan mountain range, but that hill actually belongs to different country, Bhutan. So it is not easy to reach Bhutan often, so they worship the hills from their village, and it is a kind of pain and the nostalgia they actually cherish, and they also feel bad about it, that it is not easy for them to reach to Bhutan because of different administrative and bureaucratic reasons. This is the local market. It is only set up for every Tuesday, and people used to take collect their everyday necessities, the necessary commodities from these village market, which is only available weekly, and the nearest town where the market and everyday commodities are available, that is almost 23 miles away from this village, as I mentioned. Therefore, the community has several types of crises what they actually face. The first one is there is no road to the village, and nearest road is almost 6 mile away from the road they have. Uh, they are connected with from their village. They have significant amount of poverty because mostly they are dependent on the agriculture, and uh, therefore most of the people from young generation, after passing their school, I mean class 8, class 10, or class 12, they migrate as a construction labor in different parts of the country, like neighboring states of Sikkim, or in Bombay, they travel to Calcutta or Kerala or different places as a migrant labor. And this kind of migration also makes the community more vulnerable, because when they are migrated from their village into another city, they actually had to change their profession, traditional profession. They had to acquire another language, which is not their mother language, for their everyday communication and professional needs. Therefore, the poverty and what leads to migration is also makes the community very much vulnerable, challenging their I mean social life and the cultural life, traditional knowledge and all. Besides this, there is also deforestation, because the builders and promoters also occupying the significant amount of land of these hill areas, and they introduce the guest houses or the resort or some kind of places. Therefore, these communities are actually pushed back to more difficult geographic location in these foot regions of the mountain because of deforestation. And these people are actually habituated with their forest life. They are actually the no worshipper of nature. So if nature is violated, these people uh, feel some kind of threatening, as the community leader Padma Shri Dhaniram Toto mentioned about this to us when we visited Totopara. They also have lack of political representatives, as they have less than 1700 population, and among those only 800 or 900 voters are there. So only they can select the local government for their village, but they do not have their representative in the center. I mean, in the government, in the state government, or in the central government of India. So they feel that their voices are not represented to the government, as they do not have their any representative. So this is one kind of crisis they face. They also have infrastructural crisis, because there is no direct road, so there is no direct communication, and everyday opportunities are also not available, especially for education, medication and all. So infrastructural problems are also very significant. And there is no public library. Only one library they had, but it is closed because the last librarian is died. And their high school has only three regular teachers for teaching class 5 to class 12. Therefore, they do not have regular classes. So this is the administrative and the economic challenges the community faces. Besides this, the community also face a significant linguistic challenge. And what is that? Totopara, though it is very small village, but it is multi-ethnic village and multilingual space. this Totopara is, because the people from Bengali community, Nepali community, Rajbanshi community, and the Bihari community also lives in this Totopara. And Bengali, Nepali, Rajbanshi, and Biharis are more powerful. Especially Bengalis are more powerful because Bengali is the state language of West Bengal, where this Totopara village is located. And besides that, Nepali is also a powerful language, and Rajbangshi and the Bihari community, they are comparatively more powerful than the Toto community. Therefore, the naming of the places of their village is continuously changed, and these powerful people change the name of the locality and many other commodities and everyday subject from Toto into Nepali or Bengali. And if you see the name of the people of the Toto community, though they have Toto surname with them, but first name is hardly a Toto word. So most of the people are having first name with Bengali word. So this kind of linguistic imposition actually kills everyday Toto vocabulary, and it is also a very significant challenge, linguistic challenge to the community, because we all know that our language is not only a language or mode of communication, but it is also mode of cognition, and it inherits the traditional knowledge, knowledge of science, literature, history, religious knowledge, and all. And while they are losing their vocabulary, and those are replaced with any powerful neighboring languages, they are actually, their epistemic right is significantly violated. So this is a very important linguistic challenge the community has been facing every day. And they do not have script, though a script is prepared by Dhaniram Toto with the help of some other linguist, but there is no way to introduce this script for learning to the young Toto generation, as Toto is not a language of instruction in the schools. Therefore, there are some people who voluntarily take initiatives to teach Toto script to the younger generation, but this is very informal practice, and that actually does not help to make the script introduced with the younger generation and to write in that script. Therefore, they adapt that nearest powerful language, which is Bengali, and Bengali script for writing Toto literature. I mean, the prose, poems, novels, and the stories, and also recording their cultural past. So Bengali script is widely used among the community. When we planned to translate Toto literature or the Toto songs into Bengali and English, uh, through our few other experiences of dealing with marginal text, marginal languages, we found there are certain problems what are actually needs to be addressed, and we should be very much equipped to address such problems. um, Translation scholar Maria Taimochko addressed few issues, that issues related to the interpretation of material and social culture, including law, economics, and so forth, history, values, and worldview. Serious problems with the transference of literary features such as genre, form, performance conventions, and literary allusions, as well as the inevitable questions of linguistic interface. And because neither the content nor the intertextual framework of such text is familiar to the receiving culture, it becomes very difficult to translate and transfer the knowledge and the voices of the community into some other language. And since there are many types of non-canonical and marginalized literatures, I should explain that here I am talking about translating literature that is marginalized, because it is the literature of a marginalized culture. The intent is to consider texts that have been excluded or omitted from the canon. But in case of Toto, the situation is more vulnerable, because when we translate a marginal text or text from marginal community, it is necessary to have some introductory knowledge about the community, But when it is about the Toto or the any PVTG, particularly vulnerable tribal group of India, we do not have any encyclopedic knowledge. We do not have any basic information of the community. Therefore, it is very difficult to contextualize the text to generate meaning for the readers. Therefore, we need a lot of preparation. We need prerequisite, multiple prerequisite to reach to a text. And when we started dealing with Toto literature or Toto text, we found that we need a significant number of prerequisites to reach to the text. So challenges in translating from marginal languages, what we found that one problem is the problem with resource person, that we do not have resource persons who know both the languages equally. We have absence or lack of tools. We have lack of community permission, credibility of the translators, because being a Bengali, when I'm going to any PVTG community, it is also a question of the credibility or the inter community faith, because I go there as a translator, as a researcher, but also as a representative of a powerful community, or I go from center canon. So inter-community faith and trust is also very important to when we engage with a text what comes from a PVTG or any other marginal community. And they also have fear of being misrepresentation. There was a young Toto scholar, Toto poet, and editor and the writer Satyajit Toto, and he told me very clearly that I do not want my writings to be translated into Bengali or English. I do not want translation. Because the translation directly does not help my Toto language. I am in a very vulnerable condition. So I need something what will help to develop my language, not it will, I mean, it is not for helping other people to know about me. I need something what will develop my language, my culture, resources in my language. So that is one thing that I felt some kind of guilty being a translator. And problem of publishing marginal languages, it is also another obstacle, hurdle, what translator has to cross, that who will publish such kind of text, because they do not have as such market or the enthusiastic readership. But if some people are doing research on these kind of marginal text, and if they are studied in university courses curriculum, or if somebody is very much enthusiastic to know about PBTGs or marginal cultures and languages, they will buy. So the readership is very limited. Therefore, it is also difficult to get publishing houses. And when it is difficult to get publishing houses, the enthusiasm for translating such kind of text also reduced. People do not get much enthusiasm. So when we started our work, we started finding the YouTube videos about the community and the community performances, social media sites to talk about the community people, and also documentary also helps to know about the community. And luckily we got few clippings of a documentary on Totopara that also helps us to get preliminary knowledge about the community, their history, and all, and the available photographs and the maps. These were kind of prerequisite for us to go for fieldwork and collecting literary text and sources from the village, from the community members, authors, and all. And we found that we need a kind of collaborative translation. And then we started thinking that why do we need collaboration? Collaboration we need when we translate between the languages of center and the periphery. When we do not have any idea about the source language, only we know the target language. In case of Toto, I do not know Toto language, but I know Bangla and English, the target languages in which I'll translate. And when translation is happening between two peripheral languages, when translation is happening between distant source language and distant target language, we need collaboration, and we need some tools, and those tools are dictionary, glossary, parallel corpus, and all. And we also dealt with all these kind of prerequisites and tools for engaging, I mean, before engaging with translation. So types of collaboration, what we found that helps us to translate such kind of text. One is author expert in residence, on-site translation, digital and distant translation, workshop method where we plant the source text site through workshop to give knowledge about the source text and its context to the translators, because translators do not necessarily come from the background of the source text, but source text is most of the cases a distant text to the translator. So translators should have some kind of knowledge about the about the context of the source text. And also the classroom collaborative translation, which we practice in our University of Calcutta, and that is one successful method through which we have translated quite a few texts. We also did community collaboration and institutional collaboration. In case of Toto language, it is about the community collaboration, because we directly collaborated with the community. We talked to the people, we lived there, stayed there for a few days. We talked to the people to know about the different kind of nuances of the community, their narratives, their history, their sculpture, their archival records, what especially Dhaniram Toto keeps alive with him in his home. And institutional collaboration is another thing, that we can have institutional collaboration, institution located in the geographic location from where source text is emerged. This kind of collaboration actually helps to have a good knowledge about the source text, because there are other lack of other sources to get knowledge about the source text. Therefore such kind of collaboration and the field translation is extremely required. Organic collaborative translation, when we translate with the communication and conversation of the community members, that is actually the organic collaborative translation, because everything is living there. And this organic collaborative translation is both aesthetic and geographic departure from traditional form of translating a text, and where text, context, intertext, and interhuman emotions are found. When we engaged ourselves with a particular Toto text, we were talking to the author himself, right? And the emotion, the expression, his voice modulation, his nostalgia, his association with the landscape, with the village, also helped us to get the every nuances of the meaning which are generated through the words of the text. And that helps the translator to get into the text, to get the aesthetic pleasure of the text. And organic collaboration actually gives us a natural context, a realistic detailing, and the living human and its relation with the source text, and the living human and its relation with the target text. We also followed collaborative translation workshop method model for translating text from Sundarban's island of West Bengal, and the literature from Subarnarekha river basin, and also a linguistic and cultural community, Shershabadia. So these are our successful initiatives with workshop, following workshop model and collaborative translation. Sundarban was workshop translation, planting the source into the workshop venue, and Shubhano Roikik was a digital distance collaborative translation. It happened during COVID-19 pandemic. And Shershabadia was field translation. It was kind of organic collaborative translation with institutional affiliation. So when we engaged ourselves for translating Toto text, we some of my students, they suggested to prepare dictionary and grammar. We are yet to prepare the grammar. We could not do that till now, but the prerequisite tool what we have is a trilingual dictionary. It is prepared by Bhakto Toto, and we people assisted him to get publish it and to get it well circulated through newspaper book reviews and selling it in Kolkata and other places, selling it through online and all. So this trilingual dictionary addresses Toto Bengali, Toto words, 1800, almost 1800 words are there, along with Bengali and English equivalences. And this is the Toto trilingual dictionary. And this is in right side is this small photo of Bhakto Toto who compiled this dictionary, and it is published by our trust, Calcutta Comparative 1919, in collaboration with Bhasha Sangsad, another publishing house. And we got a huge reception after publishing this Toto trilingual dictionary. And The Hindu, the most reputed newspaper of India, covered it on the first page as the first page story in international edition. And he is the most significant author of the Toto community, Dhoniram Toto, who received third highest civilian award given by Government of India in 2023, what is Padma Shri Award. And then let me come to directly to the workshop. How did we prepare the book and how we engage ourselves with the process of translation? This is Dhanapati Toto Memorial High School, and we conducted workshop in this high school with the school children and school children of class 8, class 9, 10, and few from 11, 12. In this school we organized the workshop with the permission of the school authority and the authors and community leaders of Totopara, and all of them were present in the workshop. They also shared their views and their dreams about Totopara community, language, and culture along with the students. And these are the locations, these are the landscapes of Totopara village, and these landscapes are very, very important for translation. And why I am telling it later. So, this is the playground. This is the workshop venue, and these students they participated in the workshop. They were asked to write about their dreams, their vision, their opinion about their village and schools and all. And it was extempore kind of creative writing workshop. And we gave them pen, paper, pencil, and all, and they started writing. They took time of few hours, 1 hour, and so, and they wrote about their ideas, vision, dreams, and all. It happened on 4th August 2022. So these are the photos from the workshop venue. In the workshop, what we did, workshop was organized with due permission of the authority, as I told, and it was extempore kind of thing. And they used multiple genres. All these children, they used multiple genres of writing, such as personal prose, poems, and letters. And few of them also wrote letters, poems, and personal prose directly in English language. Though most of the texts were written in Bangla, but that Bangla is also interesting. That Bangla is not standard uh, Bangla like the Bengali speaker, but it is kind of broken Bangla. We may call it Toto Bengali because we do not want to tell it the wrong. It is grammatically wrong. Though it is grammatically wrong if we compare it with standard Bangla, but I don't know how much opportunity these children have to learn Bengali grammar. So the Bengali what they have, it is Toto Bengali. It is a different, another kind of variant of Bengali. This is how we want to see it. And texts are very much multilingual because these texts inherit the vocabularies from Bengali, from English, from Toto, some from Sadri language, what is another tribal language, and also lingua franca for tea gardens in North India and eastern part of India and northeastern part of India. And therefore, as the Totopara village itself is multi-ethnic and multilingual site, so the children inherit words, vocabularies from different communities. Therefore, what they write actually represents the multilingual text. And then we published this book called Totoparar Chotora. And this cover is designed by our students, my students Obhijit and Odarjo, but the initial drawings are taken from the drawings made by these children in the workshop. So this is the original book for translation, and this is the few copies of the manuscripts they have prepared. They written, all these are written in Bengali, I mean the mixed Bengali, the mixed language, and in Toto Bengali, and journey of the book. So we conducted workshop. We got the manuscript, I mean the text they have written. And how did we reach to the book called Totopara Chotora? So first it was field work, then it was creative writing workshop. And this idea of workshop was actually, it was not my idea, it was given by my student Oyon. And after this creative writing workshop, we got the manuscript as raw material for the book, and then we started editing the manuscript. And my student Tulika, Shudeshna, Odarjo, they took a large part of a role to edit this manuscript from broken Bengali or Toto Bengali to standard version of Bengali, because the book is mostly targeted to the Bengali readers. Therefore, the Toto Bengali or the broken Bengali will not help the Bengali readers to reach to the text, original text. Therefore, we in this book we kept the Toto Bengali, and also we kept the edited text side by side, as the Bengali readers or any researcher of literature, linguistics, translation, or comparative literature or anthropology can get the idea of both the languages, the language they use and the language actually recognized as Bengali for the Bengali native speakers. This book is actually a pictorial manuscript, and drawings are there which are made by the children, and both the pieces and drawings prepare the landscape of the village. So for this book, landscape is very important, and I got few ideas while I was translating this book here in BCLT. One day Professor Duncan suggested me to visit one workshop, one exhibition what is happening in Norwich Castle museum, and it was JWM Turner's work on landscape. And when I visited that exhibition, and I found how the landscape is important to understand the local history, to understand the literature, the culture of the place. And the entire exhibition was about changing landscape of Norwich, of different places of UK, industrial England, post-industrial England, and all these things. Then I found that the landscape what are captured by our mobile camera of for Totopara village, and also the landscape what are drawn by these school children are actually very important, because Totopara Chotora is nothing but a documentation of dreams of children and the landscape of the Totopara. Totopara does not have, it's a very small tiny village, so it does not have very prominent location in the map of West Bengal or map of India. But when such kind of book is prepared by the children with their drawings and with their verbal description of the village, it actually gives a documentation of the landscape of the village. Therefore, this book has significance, different layers of significance. And I found that the geographic significance of this book is actually remarkable. The way landscape is drawn, the way landscape is described by the children. So prerequisite knowledge for translating this book is, it is essential to know the history, culture, and everyday social life of the community. And me and my research group, we tried as much as possible to know the history, culture, and the everyday life of the social community by reading few books which are produced by the administrators and also the social scientists about the community, and also being with the community for few days. It is also very important to understand the racial composition in the village, because we do not have much information, data, or book on the racial composition or the ethnic composition of the village. So until unless you are going to visit the village, you are being there, you cannot have the knowledge of racial composition, which is very much reflected in the book Totoparar Chotora. That multi-ethnicity and the multilingual reality of Totopara village is very important. The way it is painted by the children. So, and also it is important to understand the difficulties faced by the community, because children are writing few lines about the difficulties, and they are not able to or expected to connect the difficulties they face with the greater reality. To understand the greater reality, understand the nature of difficulties they face, the only source text is not available. You have to have knowledge, some kind of encyclopedic knowledge about the community and their everyday life. Therefore, such kind of translation requires extensive field work and extensive dialogue with the community. So, knowledge of language situation in Totopara and its multilingual composition, the pieces, as I mentioned, that these are already multilingual pieces. Text are written in Bengali, but very different than standard Bengali, as I meant. And Bengali, what is used in this text is not literary Bengali. As I mentioned, it is Toto Bengali. And what is Toto Bengali? Toto Bengali is nothing but a lingua franca. So a text is produced in a most available and accessible lingua franca. That is also very, very, very important, that uh, they could communicate with us only with the Bengali, whatever Bengali knowledge they have. So that was lingua franca for them and for us also to communicate with the children, and they wrote the text in this lingua franca. So pattern of language is language of everyday communication that makes this text more living. Therefore, while I was translating the pieces written by these children, I felt that I have to deal with English with more care, with sophistication, uh, to make alive the everyday emotion and the living experience of these children, because everyday use of words are actually there in the book. So, method of translation. While I started translating this book, as a translator, I am the insider of the source book, because I know the entire journey of the preparation of the book. And this is a kind of collaborative making of source text to individual translation, because I myself is translating this book. But this book is prepared by a team. The fieldwork is conducted by a team. The cover, the editing part, and everything is actually done by a team. So it is about my conversation with my team, it is about my knowledge in being into the field work and the conversation with the community members, and then coming into the text and doing the translation. So two layers of linguistic journey is there in this translation, because when I was translating each text into English, I was actually dealing with two kind of Bengali. One is the Toto Bengali, another one is the standard Bengali, right? So it was continuous comparison between two source text to translate it into English. So it was quite exciting and emotionally engaging, as I am continuously going back to the Totopara and coming back to Kolkata with two different uses of Bengali language, because these two different uses actually give you, as a translator or reader, you will always give impression of being into two different places, right? So while I was translating, I was continuously feeling that I belong to different places, two different places with the two different Bengali used in the source text. So translating into a simple English as edited Bengali of the source text, and translation as comparison, because otherwise you cannot proceed with translation if you do not compare the text. This is how texts are, I mean, manuscripts are prepared. This is by Dhruvo Toto. He wrote about his impression about his village, about his friends, and also he drawn a picture. It's a traditional Toto house with the bitternut trees, banana trees, and all. So he painted about, he drawn about his house and the surrounding, and this makes his pieces very lively. And this is how we made the original book. In one side, those original drawing and the writing manuscripts are there, and it is the standard version of Bengali of the native speakers. And the kind of challenges I was facing while I was translating is that, which source text I am translating? Is it the Toto Bengali or the standard edited Bengali? What will be more attractive, or what will be easier, grammatically adequate to translate into English? So it is a continuous dilemma I face as a translator, that what is my source text, because both the pieces are in front of me. One is written in Toto Bengali, which is in standard Bengali sense, wrong in grammar, spelling mistakes are there, sentence are not properly constructed for most of the text, but some of the text are not like that, but most of the text are like that. And then I have an edited version. So I have to imagine the sentence, I have to complete the sentences, then I have to reproduce it into English. But what will be my English readers, the readers of the translation, whether they will have that flavor, that it is written in different Bangla, other than my introduction or the end notes, right? So it was a kind of challenge that, um, what kind of English should I use? Then I decided that it should be a simple English statement, where wherever they are using passive voice, I used passive voice. Wherever they are using active voice, I used active voice. Some of the everyday use of the words, English words in different meaning, I kept, and I put the standard meaning into bracket, and all these are very common practice of dealing with formal equivalence of in case of translation. So but this was not that much challenging to me, because I know there are solutions. But challenging was the emotional transformation and the belongingness with these two languages, two forms of same languages. So comparing the both the versions to prepare a text with English equivalence is also a challenging task. The book is comprised of text of two different medium. One is literary and another is pictorial. So pictorial texts are actually self-expressive, right? So I mean, the painting talks about themselves. There is no need of interpretation. Drawings are self-explanatory and gives an idea of the landscape. What I was telling, that landscape is very very important for this book. While translating the verbal text, it is necessary to remember the drawings to contextualize both with each other. And translating this book is translating a landscape, culture, linguistic nuances, social composition, dreams of the children, and their emotional attachment to the village. And few text I have taken here to show you. For example, Roshni Rai, though she is a Nepali speaker but belongs to Totopara, that she is writing, Totopara is a very beautiful place. This place is just as beautiful. Also, the people here are very nice. We all live to all here together. We study at the Dhanapati Toto Memorial High School, which is great. This is our small lovely village. Totopara falls right on the Bhutan border. The village is at the foot of the mountain. We suffer a lot when it rains, because that 6 miles road are actually blocked for everyday uh, travel and transportation when it is rain, because all these certain flood comes and all. It's very risky for uh, people. uh, the village is okay. West Bengal is the name of this sorry, West Bengal is the name of this village in India. West Bengal is the name of the state where this village belongs. There are mountains all around the village. Our town has a hospital, a school, and a bank. Things are a little off with the road. It's hard for us to go outside. I wrote down all the information I could find. Okay, then thanks a lot. Dhruvo Toto. Friends, today I want to tell you about our Totopara. The road in our village turns very bad during the rainy season, but now it is a cement made road, which is the colloquially use, which actually he meant that concrete road. But before it was not like this. We did not have money earlier. Now we make some profit by selling bitter nuts. My father's name is Dawa Toto, mother's name is Rojia Toto, and my name is Dhruvo Toto. I want to draw the entire house of ours. I will draw on a different page. Now I will tell you what happens in our school and what does not. When our school is closed for 1 month for holiday, it is during Durga Puja, which is the largest festival of West Bengal, of the Bengalis. We all work in the land. A land means agricultural land. I have 5 friends in the school. We all play together and share our foods. That shows the community life and the kind of love they share for each other. We have 3 hostels in Totopara, one for girls and 2 for boys. This is also the traditional house drawn by Dhruvo Toto. Babina Toto tells that I study after returning home from school. My father works in the agriculture land and I wish to study at home because Babina Toto's house is located in more remote area and it takes a long time and there is no road to come to the school directly. Therefore, she likes to study at home because every day coming to school is very, very difficult. And we play football in our village. And Kanchan Tamang, he is Nepali. I live in Totopara. Our Totopara is a small village. I'm studying in the Bangla medium school of Totopara because a private English medium school is also there. My school is very beautiful. Standard of education is very good. Our teachers teach very well. Our Totopara is very beautiful. I want to be a doctor when I grow up because every time they mention that they have crisis of doctor, they have crisis of teacher. So Oporajit Toto, one child, he wants to be a poet and he loves to play. He loves to roam around the village. He loves to listen songs and all. Shushika Toto, a girl child, she told that there are difficulties to reach to the school and we have lack of teachers. Therefore, we never have a regular classes. Therefore, I want to be teacher. And some of them, like Srishti Rana, and the Parmila Rai, in Madina Toto, they all want to join Indian Army. Parmila Rai wrote a letter to her friend saying that we should not. She was studying in class 9, a 14 years old girl. She was telling in letter to her friend that you should not use social media, Facebook, WhatsApp for much time. You should find your time in local library. So that kind of consciousness is also very important. That kind of epistemic violence every day they face, they find it that what is the importance of a single book to these people, because they have lack of that book library and the teaching learning stuff. And every student is telling that they love to come to school, they love to study, they want to be doctor, teacher. And one girl of class 7, she told that I want to join Indian administrative service and I want to go to big city for having good I mean education, and I want to be an IS officer to serve government of India. Bishaka Toto, this is by Bishaka Toto. And Surgen Toto is also talking about their school friend and the trees, flowers, and all. Anurag Toto is also talking about the difficulties they face when about to go to the school. Rupmani Rana, she was a student of class 9. And one thing I found very significant in her writing, what was not there in any other piece, because she is a girl of adolescence and she mentioned it, the toilet at school is dirty and smells bad. It was not mentioned by any other student. But and here I found that the gender position become very sensitive, and it plays a very significant role in this children writing, that this is mentioned by Rukmani Rana, a girl of adolescence, who was studying in class 9. So that actually struck me, that no other pieces actually reflect such kind of thing. This is a drawing by Shuji Toto, and he actually drawn his house. This is about some drawings by Ujjwal Toto, and this is about the way they go to their houses from the school, because school is a foot of the mountain, and their houses actually belong, their locality, different small localities belong to the mountain. So they have to cross a long way through the hills to reach to their own house, and this is how that is actually reflected in his drawing. This is about the Himalayan range, and the some river and border is drawn by Rajiv Toto. This is drawing by Dipti Toto. It is about the school, hospital, and this is about the school. Uh, and life of a text after translation. So we translate, we collect text from PVTGs or marginal communities, but what are the lives after translation? What we did or we do or we practice, that we include it for university curriculum, that I teach in comparative Indian language and literature department at the University of Calcutta, and we have scope to design our syllabus as our own. So uh, uh, there are research scope in marginal languages and culture if we translate and prepare such kind of text. Academic programs, seminar, workshop we can organize, and we all keep on organizing. It is also about the community empowerment, because community believes, while we are talking to Dhoniram Toto and Bhakto Toto, the community members and the authors, they told that it is about letting other people know, as we do not have our representative in the Parliament of India or the Legislative Assembly of West Bengal government, uh, how we can put forward our voice, our difficulties we face in everyday life. It is only the literature. It is only the literature in translation that we can send our voice, because we do not have a member in parliaments or member in legislative assembly. So translation can play that kind of role. So it is about community empowerment. It is about confirming the more adequate democracy to the people. It is about confirming to the human rights to the people and epistemic right to the people and the community. And this is how we can confirm peace for the greater communities through translation. Therefore, I believe that translation, to some way or other, help us to build peace. It helps to write intellectual history, and it is all about, at the end of the day, emotional network. What we experience, that emotionally we were connected with the community, with the children, and preparing a book of by such effort and translating such kind of book, it is about larger emotional network. It is not only about intellectual effort and all. So we introduced a course in our MA program, Language Situation in India and Other Literatures of West Bengal, and there we include Toto. These are the question paper of our uh, course number is DSC 6A and DSC 6B, that we are giving question for Toto and other PVTG and marginal languages of West Bengal. These are the briefly the afterlife of the text after translation and all. Now is the time of acknowledgement. I'm about to finish my talk. Then we can have discussion session. So fieldwork team, there was my students Oyon, Dishari, Obhijit and Bishwajit, and for desk team who did editing and preparing the cover and the book, Tulika, Udarjo and Shudeshna along with Obhijit. And the Calcutta Comparatives 1919 is our trust, and it was initially an initiative of my students Protim, Aratrika, and Kingshuk. So I acknowledge their contribution, and I thank BCLT and Charles Wallace for giving me this opportunity and selecting such kind of project, because I believe that uh, it is a kind of uh, emotional a recognition of our emotional network beside the intellectual network and thing. Thank you all for your patience.
Thank you so much, Mrinmoy. What a wonderful project. What a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today. I'm sure our audience will have questions. So now's the time. Do please, if you have questions, please put your questions in the Q&A and I'll put them to Mrinmoy. For the moment though, Mrinmoy, perhaps I can kick off. It was really interesting the way you were explaining that this project in particular is so much more than just a linguistic project and what you're translating here. I mean, it's astounding how different this is from most translation projects, I suppose. You had to create your source text before you could begin the process of translation, and then, oh, and yes, I'll just create a dictionary as well, or we'll create a dictionary to help us translate as well. And so you're very much starting from a position much further back than most translators will be in. I was reminded of a text which I study with my students in the translation theory and history module, Kwame Anthony Appiah's thick translation, where and wondering whether that was relevant to your the practice of translating this material. The idea then, in other words, that when you're dealing with, particularly when you're dealing with material of this kind, and you were pointing out kind of how I love the point about epistemic rights and about the way in which what you're translating is a whole kind of world here. Did you feel then that put a real burden on you as a translator to convey all these other elements through perhaps, I don't know, a glossary or footnotes? Or I noticed in the examples you gave, you put some things in brackets. How did you calibrate that? Because I suppose there's a temptation kind of to explain everything, and then it detracts from the text that you're producing. But clearly you feel a kind of a real responsibility as well to introduce this world. I'm thinking as well of the example you gave of one of your respondents, who was afraid, you said, of being misrepresented and didn't want to be translated. So in a sense, you have to prove yourself to them as well. There's perhaps a number of points there, but this question of including a glossary or other kinds of explanation to accompany, or other kind of editorial materials to accompany the translation itself.
Thank you so much, Professor Duncan, for your observation. Yeah, actually, whatever you mention is my experience. I mean, all these are correct, and I face all these as a translator. Interestingly, what I found that as anthropologists and sociologists often talk about, I mean, ethnographic archive and all, that when we were preparing this text and engaged ourselves with the translation, we found that it is a kind of ethnographic, I mean, making an ethnographic archive, because of the words, the sense, the all the political nuances which are associated with this. Apparently these texts are, I mean, these texts are written by children, and apparently these texts are innocent. But I found while I was translating that these texts actually carry very strong political message,
Mhm.
because continuously these children are talking about their road. Continuously they are talking about that we do not have sufficient classes. They are not blaming the teachers. They are telling that three teachers we have, and all these teachers are very good, about their responsibility and all, but we have lack of teachers, that we cannot have regular classes and all. So all these are very strong political messages, I believe, and that actually challenges me as a translator, that I have whole lot of burden with me. And also the point what you mentioned, that Satyajit Toto, what he told me, that I do not want my literature to be translated either in Bengali or in English, because that really does not help my language. He was not talking about the community, he was very serious about his language, not about the community development or any other thing. He was
Mm,
concerned about it, but he was saying that do something what helps my language. And that actually was a kind of new consciousness I got being a translator and a student of translation studies, that we should revisit ourselves, that whether translation is always welcoming act or not. And
mm,
that actually provokes me to prepare a dictionary, and make this dictionary, I mean, it is actually compiled by Bhakta Toto, and we made it publish and all, and celebrate all this, that we need dictionary. And my student Oyon, he suggested me several times that, sir, we need to have a grammar. If we have these two things, then we can translate text from Bengali or English into Toto. And if we can do that, the reverse translation, because we are taking actually the um, kind of easier thing, because we are translating Toto into Bengali and English, because all these are privileged languages. But translating, we thought translating Tagore's Gitanjali, for what Tagore got, I mean, song offerings, for what Tagore got Nobel Prize, to Toto. That will be one iconic kind of translation. But before that, we need a grammar, to translate that. So Satyajit Toto, actually, he died. It is very unfortunate in 42 age in September 2022. But as he died, that also haunt me, his words, that I do not want text to be translated into my other language and all. Therefore, the entire engagement with this book is actually burdensome. Sorry, different kind of burden of representation, burden of understanding the text, burden of nuances of the text for translation and all. And yeah, definitely I have thought of putting glossary and all, perhaps the in-text explanation what I have given for this purpose, that later will not be there. I will put glossary. And I'm also thinking of attaching a parallel corpus of Bengali, and then the Toto they have used, and the English at the end of the book of my translation, this translation, because that parallel corpus actually help the readers of translation to understand that the source language, there are multiple layers of source language. Therefore, parallel corpus has been given, or translator tried to prepare a parallel corpus. So these are the things I am thinking, or while translating, these are things coming into my mind. Thank you for your observation.
Well, thank you, Mrinmoy. Yes, I mean, just on that last point, it struck me
Yeah.
that when you were saying that these texts are basically multilingual to start off with, and you were describing the kind of Bengali which you're working with is a sort of Toto Bengali. So, are we saying then that that what your source language is effectively a Creole language then? And I'm wondering then what the implication is for what the implication was for the compiling of the dictionary, because particularly when you've got a really a small, really in the bigger picture, a small number of speakers of a language, then codifying in that way and standardizing must be really difficult.
Exactly. This is really a problem, what you mentioned. And a dictionary actually helps because uh, the name of the trees, the fruits, the students have used in Toto language. Therefore, dictionary helps me to understand some flora and fauna of the locality. Therefore, dictionary is very, very useful. And yeah, it is kind of Creole. You were right. You mentioned it very correctly. It is a kind of Creole. And but what I felt when I was reading this text, that students also uh, they had also some kind of struggle with them while they were expressing their ideas into Bengali, and they were, uh, but in some sense, it was their comfortable journey also, because they were taking words from different languages they have listened and all. So yeah, it is a kind of Creole, and dictionary helps. But what I found that we need a kind of glossary book or a short encyclopedia book about the community if we want to proceed with translating more text, because translating this text to somewhere or other easier to me than any other text, because I myself was involved in this workshop process and all. But when I am planning to translate other text, though that is written in Bangla, but written by a Toto. So, so many words are there, what they use comfortably as Bangla, but those words are from Toto or from Sadri, what they call Adivasi language, or from Nepali or from Rajbangshi. Therefore, I believe that we have lot more to do uh, to take this project for longer time and to translate other text, many other texts.
Thank you. Um, so several questions have been coming in, and I think we can start to address some of these. Let's take as a first question, question from Punendu Banerjee, who is asking a question about your own positionality as a translator who, as you said, does not have Toto yourself. And Punendu asks, a specific linguistic community such as Toto belongs to a marginalized group whose culture and existence are deeply tied to their language. Reviving such a language and translating it for a target language audience that is geographically distanced from the source language, how challenging is that for you as a translator, especially when you do not belong to the target language's cultural or geographical context either?
Yeah, that is very, very important question. And yeah, so the thing is that, yeah, this is actually a challenging task, and therefore uh, we believe in the fieldwork method. We we could have taken any other text written by Toto author for translating, but we have taken particularly this text for translation. Why? Because we are engaged with this text, we got a certain kind of right to translate this text, as we are from very beginning engaged with the source community, source text and all. That makes us, or gives us the right to engage with the text. And it happens for the translators, because translators always do not belong to the source text or source culture. Because when Shishir Kumar Das is translating poetics from Greek, he does not belong to that culture, right? Or that environment, that intellectual history, but he learned Greek, and he took that challenge to translate poetics from Greek into Bangla, right? So this is actually the responsibility of the translator, that it does not uh, matter whether you belong to the source culture or source society and all, but you translate, you keep on translating, because you are trying to play a role of some kind of cultural ambassador, cultural communicator. You are initiating dialogues and all. So this is the thing.
Thank you. That's a really nice answer. Let's take a question from Tim Anderson at UEA. Tim says, "Thanks, Mrinmoy. I was interested in how you use the students' drawings and photographs in your research. By juxtaposing those drawings with your photographs in the presentation, I sensed you were practicing a kind of translation from one visual medium into another. did you find that the drawings had distinctive features comparable to those which you find in the Toto language? And do you find that there are different ethical or political problems when you translate visual texts in this way?
This is very interesting question, and I must address this question in my translator's preface. Yeah, actually, drawings are very much exciting, and it is a provocation for doing much research into it. Sometimes drawings are supplementary to the prose, whatever they have written. Sometimes drawings gives different or added knowledge about the village. It actually uh, imaginary I mean the real and imaginary pictorial representation of their landscape and the village. And these drawings uh, give whole lot of stories about their livelihood, because you can find that in some drawings they painted bitter nut tree. And why bitter nut tree? Because that is very important. That is the one mode of selling bitter nut, is one mode of their livelihood. So I believe the interpretation of these drawings are very important for this translation book, because drawings are actually telling whole lot of stories, that in that mountain region there are whole lot of other trees, but children are not drawn I'm not drawing other trees, but they are painting or drawing only the bitter nut trees, and some cases banana trees. Why? Because these are associated with their everyday life. Therefore, I think, I mean, you pointed it really well, that it is very important to deal with these drawings, because they tell different story also. Sometimes they supplement the stories they have written, and sometimes it picks a different story. So, yeah, for research and translation, explanation and interpretation is required for these drawings. Yeah.
Thank you. I wonder if I could just pick up on what you were saying in one of your earlier responses about the extent to which these texts are political. And you were saying that actually these perhaps at first sight rather innocent comments about the road or the lack of road that links the village to the outside world actually has rather uh, rather significant political connotations. And I was wondering, because I know of your interest in Dalit literature, and I was wondering whether you were presenting the Totos in their ethnic context in relation to other ethnicities. And I was wondering about whether there is also, and whether this is relevant to your translation, whether there's an overlap with caste distinctions as well. Do they play a role here? You use the abbreviation PVTG a couple of times, which perhaps we should explain is particularly vulnerable tribal groups. So this is a kind of official designation for groups, including the Totos. So I'm very ignorant about these kind of intersections myself, and I'm wondering whether we're thinking about the politics, how these kind of political constellations play out in this village, in your experience.
Actually, I forgot to mention it, and thank you for this question. It is very significantly, it is there. As I told, that this village is multi-ethnic village, and most of the names of the localities are changed with the Nepali words, the word from Nepali language. And we met one Toto girl child who is studying in school, class 9, that time in 2022. And she loved to use a surname Rai, R-A-I. And that R-A-I, Rai surname belongs to Nepali community. And she has a kind of inferiority complex being Toto. So her desire is to be like the Nepali neighbors, right? So these kind of differences are there. As being PVTG, they are tribal community, so among them much caste difference is not there. Actually, caste difference is very much Hindu phenomena, and in different form we can find among the Islam or in Christianity also, when especially the Dalit Christians of India, they face significant caste discrimination, as wrote Bama in her Karukku autobiography, that her caste discrimination being Catholic Christian, Dalit Christian, and all. So here that is not there, but a racial inferiority complex is very significant. It's there, and Nepali as a language is occupying the everyday vocabulary of the place naming uh, of Totopara. That is actually there. And one more information, that in 1961 census report, government of India announced that language spoken by 10,000 people will be announced as a no citizen language. And that was very I mean, problematic decision in part of government of India, and that is also violation of the democratic spirit of the nation. And after that, we significantly became ignorant about many languages, and some of the PVTG is actually the result of that less than 10,000 speakers community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A couple of questions, one quite technical, one rather broader. Question first from Injam Ahmed, who says, good evening, sir. Given that the upcoming 2026 delimitation is based on population, I think we'll have to say a bit more about that, but the upcoming 2026 delimitation is based on population. Wouldn't it be more beneficial to consider linguistic representation as a criterion? In cases like Totopara, where endangered languages like Toto are spoken, could a language-based delimitation ensure better political representation and safeguard linguistic diversity?
It is right. This is how we can do that. And actually, Padmashri Dhoniram Toto actually proposes that it should not be, I mean, the election and all, it should not be based on the only the number of the population, but the linguistic representation and racial representation should be there. And particularly, Dhoniram Toto mentioned that as Indian Parliament reserves seat for Anglo-Indians, this is how they should reserve seat for PBTGs. Otherwise, they will never get chance to be elected because they have very few members of the community. So that is very important. And also, we believe that we need, I mean, the country like India, such a multilingual country with such a linguistic diversity, we need language planning commission to give proper importance to the language and the history of epistemology. We are talking about Indian knowledge system, and Indian, if we really try to uphold Indian knowledge system, first we need a language planning commission of India. Yeah, but I agree with you, Injam.
Thank you. A question from Srijita, who says, good evening, sir. Wonderful insights. You've identified Toto as a marginalized language. India is a multilingual country, and there are other languages yet to be discovered and explored further. What do you think is the future of such marginalized languages? How can we bring these languages and their respective literatures to the limelight without running the risk of misrepresentation?
Thank you, Srijita, for this question. Actually, it is also about policy decision, and recently we are trying to propose some policy proposal to the government of India to supplement the new education policy 2020, and all these experiments what we are doing, those could be cited as example. See, the future of the language, such kind of PBTGs, language of the PBTGs and the marginal communities are actually very bad. I mean, it's in significant crisis. And when we talk about that a language is endangered, it is not only about the language. The community itself is in endangerment because of migration and all the poverty, the health issue, lack of nutrition, and all. So it happens. Therefore, a holistic development of the community is required, and that is also possible through the development of language. See, if the I think the decentralization of primary education is extremely important. You have no need to teach compulsory uh, three languages. I mean, same three language for all the part of the country, right? You decentralize the primary education. You introduce the local language of the community as a subject, as a paper, and this is how we can make the languages and the knowledge survive. So making language survive is not only about the linguistic survival, it is about the survival of the entire epistemology. So one proposal I have, that is the decentralization of primary education. What we do, we are doing through translation. We are trying to bring certain kind of awareness, but we are doing it in higher education institution. So we need to do it, teaching the language as a mode of instruction for the primary school level in those particular regions. As for example, for Totopara, Toto should be introduced in Toto primary school. Beside that, they can learn Bengali and English, because three language formula is already there. We are learning three languages in Indian schools. So Toto should be one of them for that region. So that is one way I think is possible. Yeah.
Thank you. And when you say we, does that mean you and your research group or your
Yes, yes, yes,
department?
yes,
I'm
yes.
interested also, perhaps you could say something about the center that you've recently founded, the Center for Translation and Literary Geography at the University of Calcutta. Is this also a vehicle for this kind of lobbying, putting pressure on the authorities that you've just been speaking about?
Yes, yes, yes. Actually, when we started this kind of work, we proposed to University of Calcutta to introduce a center. I submit a proposal, and the university authority was very happy to see it, and university authority give the permission and the small budget for doing research work and all. And our center's particular objective is to do work on the PBTGs and the other marginal languages by organizing continuous fieldwork based translation workshop, not bringing everything in the center, but going into the, I mean, the periphery or the margin to know about the things. Because I felt that what happens when people are called into the center, other than learning from them, we leave them teaching something. That is the bad habit we academic have. So therefore I found that that decentralization is very important, and the objective of my center, our center, is that was the particular vision what we proposed to the university. And when we mention we, yeah, our entire research team, the students, colleagues who are associated with these colleagues of other institutions who help us in different manner, so it comprise the team actually. Yeah.
Thank you. And it's really inspiring. I love the way at the end you showed when you were talking about the afterlife of this translation project, the way in which you're already incorporating these materials into your curriculum, into your syllabus, and really spreading the word institutionally, and incorporating these texts into the teaching canon, which is really great to see. Mrinmoy, we are out of time.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
So can I thank first our audience for your questions in particular. Some really great questions, and Mrinmoy, thank you so much to you for your wonderful answers to the questions, for a really inspiring presentation. Can I just say it's been an absolute pleasure hosting you as 2025 Charles Wallace India Trust Translation Fellow at UEA. Your time with us is not quite over yet, but we are very much approaching the end of your residency. We're all off to the London Book Fair next week, and we're all looking forward to that very much. Can I just say that in 2 weeks' time, for those who are regular regular participants in our online research seminars, and indeed those who are not, our next seminar is going to focus on the figure who actually founded BCLT, W.G. Zeebout, my predecessor as a professor of European literature here at the university. And we're going to be launching a new book, a substantial set of new translations by our emerita colleague Joe Catling, which has just come out with Penguin, and that's Zeebout's Silent Catastrophes. And we've got a hybrid event both here on campus, and we'll be sharing that online as well. So do join us again in 2 weeks' time on the 19th of March for that. But for the moment, thank you once again, Mrinmoy, for a really fascinating presentation. And yes, we look forward to many more afterlives of the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all.